Well, hi there everyone and welcome back to Feed the Beast Monster, where we are down here. This is our little nuclear bunker area, which still doesn't have steps in for some strange reason, but we have been building this. This is our big reactor. We've completely finished it, and I believe we have also filled it up with fuel. The only thing that we have not done yet is switched it on. That's what we're going to do today. We have put a computer on the side. I have loaded up this computer with just a simple little program which will just keep an eye on it. I will explain exactly what that does in a minute. We have our reactor power tap over here, and over here we have some energy cells. We have a ton of energy cells. I have spent ages making these. They are not very exciting to make. And some conduits, because I need to store power, because this thing puts out an awful lot of power, in case you don't know. Right, let's get these in then. I have made 5 of these, I think. There we go, and some conduits. So I think I can just pop these down in the corner actually and run power into the top of them. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, redstone energy conduit, and pop you in like that. You can see the lights turned green because it has a place to send the power. And these should really quickly start filling up with power. Since they're resonant energy cells, they can each hold... I can't quite read that. That's 50 million RF each, isn't it? So they shouldn't fill up too quickly. Right, so we are all connected. Everything is together and we are ready to go. So what I'm going to do is just simply switch this reactor on. Click. You can see the temperature starts building, the flux starts going up, and all these things. I'm going to switch this thing on and just explain why I have this. Now, if you look in here, you can see that we have different things. We have a temperature, we have the energy output, and the fuel burn rate, things like this. However, you can possibly see that this is actually fluctuating around quite a bit because these big reactors actually use some very interesting maths actually. It means it can all be really rather random, exactly what the output is to the nearest 20 or so RF, which is about, most of what one of those dynamos upstairs produces. So all that this thing does is basically smooths the numbers out once it gets up to temperature, so you can see exactly what's being used. So you can see how much fuel is being used per tick, the RF per tick, the RF per fuel, all of these sorts of things. That's very useful because it shows you how much RF is being produced for each ingot. Basically, it's looking like it is just over 100,000 RF. However, we have a problem, and I knew this would happen. You can see this. This is the temperature, and this is the temperature of the fuel. If the fuel temperature gets over 1000, you have a bit of a problem because the efficiency drops really quickly when it gets over 1000. You can see it is fluctuating just over 1000. And this is really quite bad. I don't really want it to be going up that high. You can see that this thing already has about 3 million. They all have about 3 million RF in each. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to immediately shut this down because I know this thing is not working perfectly. So what is the problem? The problem is it's getting too hot, and it's getting too hot because there's too many of these control rods too close together. This isn't exactly the perfect layout. Now the one which I think is probably going to be causing the problem is the one in the middle. The ones around the edge will be cooler. The ones in the centre will be getting hotter, and the one dead centre will be the hottest. Now, as I jolt backwards at high speed, is this thing? Yep, this thing has reduced right down and shut down. It takes a few seconds to shut off. I shall just switch this monitor off as well. But it was running at a decent number of RF per fuel. So let us take this central one out, and I'm just literally going to chop it out. which will of course break the multi-block, and we'll use the yellorium which was in that fuel rod. But let's replace it with, I have lost my diamond blocks. I forgot to pick them up. So just 1 second, I'm going to go and grab me a diamond block. Okay, so I am back, and I have with me a diamond block which I have just got from the factory. Let's go up here and replace this hole with a diamond block. If you remember, the diamonds are really good at cooling, but they also let the neutrinos or whatever other particle this thing says it's using through, so the power from this one will transmit into that one and get us more power, rather than using something like the enderium. Pop this on and pop this back. The multi-block reforms with a hole. Now, are we actually full of fuel? We probably are, because we're still full of fuel. So we're still at 100% fuel. We now have 14 fuel rods. And let's switch her back on again. Click. And restart up this monitor program. It's only very simple. You can make these which are really awesome, which automatically switch the reactor on and off as you fill up with fuel. But this one is a very, very simple monitor because I didn't really need all that. But what you can see immediately is that the case temperature is now lower. It is below the critical 1000 mark. And you can see the amount of RF we are getting per fuel is going up. It was at 100,000 before. It is now up at getting near 110,000. We are also making a massive 5,500-ish RF per tick, which you can see just how quickly this is filling up, especially when you think this is actually filling up 5 resonant ender cells at this rate. That is massive. It is producing a massive amount of RF per tick. It doesn't burn through much fuel. It's up to nearly 7,000 because it is still climbing. Since that lags behind, we can see it is actually producing nearer 9,000 RF per tick. How absolutely ridiculous is that amount? This will fill this up in no time. And I am really, really happy. Okay, I'm going to leave that running for a few seconds whilst I do something else now, because I feel like I should have a way to get down here really rather easily. And that means, of course, a linking book. So let us go and get ourselves a linking book. I don't think I have a blank one in here. So I shall pop on down. Actually, what I'm going to do is let's get the one out of here because we don't need this anymore, rather than make a fresh one. It's been a long time since we've been in here, but the house is still looking pretty much the same. My bedroom, I guess it is. Let's just go out onto the balcony because why not? Isn't that nice? Nice view. Back out over to the viewing tree, just there. I likes it out there. So what I'm going to do is grab this one. This one links straight into the factory, if you remember, because I want to show something really cool that you can do. You can get through doors if you are skillful, and if you are not, let's try and get around. This is all getting a tiny bit laggy today, which is a little bit annoying. Shut that and come into here, because you may remember a long time ago when I was doing mystcraft, I came across this stuff. This stuff is crystal. It just spawns randomly in mystcraft worlds. I only mined up 44 pieces of it because I was doing it with a pickaxe. And I'm hitting all the wrong buttons just for a change. The things that you can do with crystal is, if you make a circle, I guess, of it with this, you can get a book receptacle. So that is exactly what we are going to do, and then we are going to pop back on down into the bunker. Because I guess what I could actually possibly do is seal this thing off entirely, actually, and just use mystcraft to get down here and out again. So let's see how this is doing. These are more full than you can put into a redstone energy cell. And it is all working really rather efficiently and really rather well. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, sorry about that. We've been having a crash or two here, but we are back now, and we are still producing a lot of energy. You can see that these resonant energy cells are nearly up to 2 million RF each, which means that they are getting on for halfway full, which isn't bad at all. Now, back to this thing. The crystals, which I'm going to use to make me a portal. Now, the interesting thing about these portals, they work a little bit like... Let's actually get rid of this. They work a little bit like the nether portals, in that you can just walk through them, but the interesting thing is you can actually make them any shape and size that you like. Now, I only have 36, and these should, well, they should really be inset into the floor, shouldn't they? But I can't do that, so it is just going to go like this. It's going to be a very, very big one, going right up to the ceiling. Shall I actually make it even one wider, just because I can? So it's going to be like that. That will be my portal. Now what I need are some steps to get into it. So just 1 second and I'm going to return with steps. Okay, so I am back, and I am back with some junglewood steps, because I have decided that this entire room is basically reinforced. I don't really need to use reinforced steps. It might well look good, but I don't think it's really necessary, and I think that looks okay actually. Now, shall I go for a bit of stone here just to give it... There we go, I think that's actually got a bit of style to it. I quite like that. So we also have this thing. This is a book receptacle. I'm going to pop this in here. And all that you do is you pop in... Perhaps you have to actually click with the book. A book. And you can see that we have a portal. It looks vaguely like the nether portals. You get into it and it will transport you to wherever that book takes, whether that's an alternate dimension. That particular book just takes you straight to the factory, so let's give it a try. And there you go, that quickly we've popped out straight into the factory. That is really rather awesome. I'm just going to loop back around into here again. So that's good, so we can get in and out of here quickly. The only other thing which we really need are some steps coming down here, which I can probably do really quite quickly actually if I just go for nice easy ones. I could even just go like that, couldn't I? Or shall I bring them down sideways? I'm preferring the sideways look, I think, because it looks like it's going straight into the reactor otherwise. So a bit of wood just makes the entire place look a bit softer, I think, a bit nicer. And then of course we actually need some going that way, which mucks that up. But you know, that just about works, doesn't it? I think so. So let's just put something like that in there. There we go, not the best set of steps in the world, but they will do. And there we go, we now have a way down into here. That will just go straight off the end there, so... Not that I can really hurt myself doing it, and I'm the only person likely to be in here. But you know, just for safety's sake, it is always a good idea to be safe. Really, I should put this one square back. I might do that off camera. But that will be the end of this episode, guys. These are filling up really rather well and really rather quickly. They're well over half full already, and that is a lot of energy. We've got 5 of those down here and up here. What do we have? We only have 4 of them up here, so that is pretty good. So thank you very much for watching this episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I do hope to see you once again next time. Thank you and goodbye.